In this video, we are going to make this simple HTML form project. Okay, whatever concepts we have learned till now, we have learned about form, we have learned form elements, we have seen how to use type attributes, we have seen what are the values are included inside type attributes, and also we have understood some of the input attributes. Okay, now using all those concepts, we are going to make this simple project. Here I am having one heading, and inside this I am having this first name. Here I am having all these fields. Now you can see whenever I click on this, I am not getting any suggestion, which means that I have included autocomplete is equal to off. And here we have not seen about this checkbox. We are going to see whenever I click on this button, only one should be selected. Okay, so we are going to see that one as well, and also we are going to learn about checkboxes now. Now you can see whenever I click on this, here I am having all this data. Then we are having this time, and here I am having this selecting the colors. Then I am having this password field. Whenever I click on this, here I am having this, and here inside this I am having some hobbies, and here this is the text area. Okay, whatever feedback I just want to send, I can just send that one. Now you can see here the button submit button is enabled, but reset button is disabled here. Now when I click on submit button, you can see it will tell me please fill out this field. Okay, because I have given the input attribute required, so it is just telling me to fill out this one. Now here I am just going to give some values here. Let me just write email khanam@gmail.com, and here I have just selected, and here I am just going to give some random data. Let me just select Hindi, Kannada, and from here any date. Then select color, password I am having, hobbies let me just select, badminton, and feedback I am just giving something. Now when I click on submit data, you can see it will be sent to data.html file, and here I am having this data sent. Okay, I have just written action attribute, and whenever I click on submit button, the data should be sent. Okay, basically we are not going to do like that. Whenever we click on submit button, the data will be sent to server. As we are not using any backend programming language, we are just sending the data to another file. Okay, so here I am having this, and the reset button is disabled. Now we are going to make this project, and we will understand what are the concepts we have learned till now, so that we will have more clear idea on forms. Okay, now here I am having this data.html file, and inside that I have just written h1, and inside h1 I have just written here data sent. Now here I am just going to create one file, form.html. Okay, we will be writing the code completely from the scratch. Now inside form.html, first I am just going to write this basic structure of HTML. Let me just close this one. Now here I am just going to change form project. Okay, title. Now below this body I am just going to write h1, and here I will be writing form, HTML form. HTML form. I'll save this. I'll just copy this path, and here I am just going to paste that one. Okay, that I am just going to keep for our reference. Okay, now here I am having HTML form. Now below that I am having these three input fields, first name, last name, and email. So for that, below this, first I am just going to create the form, and whenever I click on the action button, the data should be sent inside data.html. So inside action I am just going to write data.html, and also method I am going to use here post. Okay, basically we are having two types of method, get and post. You can use any one of that, but get is not secure, because whatever data you are sending using get, that will be displayed in the URL. But using post you can send all the sensitive data, but using get you cannot send any sensitive data. Now inside this form, first I am just going to create the label, and inside this I am just going to give the for, and here I will just write here first. Let me just write here first name, and here also I am just going to write here first name. Below this I am just going to create input field, and for this input field type will be text, and ID whatever I have given for this for I am just going to copy, and here I am just going to paste. It will be same. Then name I am going to give here username, or let me just write here f name. Okay, you can give anything, but when you are using PHP, then this name attribute is very important to send the data to the database. Then I have just given here required. Okay, without filling the form I should not send this data, so I am just giving here required is equal to required. Okay, you can use either like this, or you can just write here required attribute. Okay, both are accepted. Okay, both you can use, either this one, or you can just write required is equal to required. Then next I am just going to write another attribute, that is nothing but autocomplete. Autocomplete is equal to off, because whenever I click on input fields, I don't want any suggestion should appear, so I am just giving this one. And also I am just going to give placeholder, that is nothing but enter your first name. Enter your first name. I'll save this. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I am having first name, and here I am having this input field. Now whenever I click on this, I can just select the data, and I can enter the text here. Now below this, okay, as we have already seen, this input field and these labels are inline elements. because they will take only the space it is required. They will not take any extra space. So for that I'm just going to give here break, so that my next input field will come in next line. I'm just going to write here break tag. Then below this we are having last name. I'm just going to copy the same thing and here I'm just going to paste, and I'm just going to do some changes here. I'll just write here last name. For will be last name here, last name, and also ID I'm just going to copy, and here I'm just going to paste the ID. Name will be L name, and inside this I'm just going to write here last name, and also required is equal to required and autocomplete is equal to off, so that I don't want any suggestions. Now below this, okay, type is equal to text. Now below this again I'm just going to paste that one. Let me just copy again. I'll just copy this and here I'm just going to paste. Now instead of this I'm just going to write here email, and here I'll just select here, here, and also here. I'll just write here email. Okay, everywhere I'm just changing it to email. Type is also email, because whenever I click on submit button I should be having valid email, only then I will be able to fill the data. Okay, now here I'm having last name. Let me just write here colon. Here also I'm just going to write, and here also I'm just going to write. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Okay, now here you can see I'm having first name, last name, and email. Now suppose if I just don't give this break tag, I'll save this. Now you can see here what will happen, okay, because these are inline elements, they will fit next to each other. So I'm just giving here break tag, so don't get confused. But whenever we are using stylings, whenever we apply stylings for this one, we are not going to use break tags. We will make this as display block, and then we are going to do all the stylings based on our requirement. Now below this we are having gender. Let me just come here. We can see we are having one label gender, and inside this I'm having three options: male, female, and others. Now here inside this I'm just going to write here label. Now as of now for I'm just going to remove. Now inside this I'll be writing here gender. Now below this let me just add one break. Now below this I'll be writing input field. Now here I'll be writing radio. Type is equal to radio. Radio means only one option I can select. Now once you give this radio button, now what I am going to do is I have to give value as well. Value I am going to give male, because whenever we click the data, this value will be sent to the database. And also we have to use name attribute. This name attribute is must inside this, and here I am just going to give here gender. And also ID I can give as male, okay, based on your requirement. Whatever name you want, you can just give that one. Now below this, I'll first let me just save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'm having gender, here I'm having this radio. Now after this I want label should be displayed. So below this I'm just going to create label, and inside this let me just write here male. Okay, because this input field belongs to this label, so whatever ID I have given here I'm just passing that one here, and here I'm just going to write male. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'm having male. In the same way I'm just going to copy this, and here I'm going to paste, and here I'm going to paste. Okay, this name whatever you have given here, it will be same for each and everything. Now here I'm just going to write here female, and here I'll be writing other. And also I'll just correct the spelling here. It should be value. Type is equal to name will be same for all the fields, and here I'm just changing. I'll just change this ID female. I'll copy this one, and here I'm going to paste, and here I'll be writing others. I'll copy this, and here I'll be writing. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see, okay, let me just change that one. Now here I'm just going to write here female, and female, and here I'll be writing others. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see whenever I click on this, only one data is selected. Now suppose if I just give separate values here 1, 2 and 3, I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I can select male, I can select female, I can select others. All the three data I can select. So you should be careful that whenever you are using type is equal to radio, for whichever value you are using, they should be having same value inside this name attribute. Only then it will work. Or else you can select all the data like we do in checkboxes. Okay, we should not do this one. Let me just write here gender. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see only one data I can select. Okay, at one time I can select only one data. Okay, now below that we are having this select option. Below this I will be writing here BR tag 2 times. Now below this I'm just going to create label, and inside for let me just write here state, and also here I'm just going to write here select state. Select state. Below this I'll be writing select element, and inside this name let me just write here states, and ID whatever I have given for I'll copy this, and here I'm going to paste. Now inside this I just have to write option, and inside this option first I'm just going to write the value as Mysore, I'll just copy this 3-4 times. Next I'll just copy this Mysore, and inside this I'm going to paste. Next I'll be writing Karnataka, then next I'll be writing Maharashtra, then finally I'm just going to write here Kerala. I'll copy this, and here I'm going to paste. I'll copy, paste, copy and paste. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I'm having select state. Now whenever I click on this, I'm having all this option. Now by default you can see only the first data whatever I have given here, that is been selected. Now suppose instead of Mysore, if you just want Maharashtra should be displayed. So wherever we are having Maharashtra, you just have to write here selected. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see it has been changed to Maharashtra, and whenever I click on this, the default value will be to Maharashtra. Okay, this is how we can change. I'll come here, I'll copy this to BR, and here I'm going to paste. Now below this BR, let me just write here field set, and inside this first I'll be adding here legend. Inside legend I'm going to write here address. Below this legend, okay, we have already seen this legend will be acting as a caption for our container. First I'm just going to add here label. Let me just write here street, and inside this I'll just write here street. Below this I'm just going to write input field, and inside this input field type will be text. Name I'm just going to write here. Name also I'm just going to write here street. I'll copy, I'll paste, and ID also I'm just going to paste that one, and also I'm just going to give one placeholder. Placeholder is equal to enter your street number something. Enter your street number. I'll save this. Save. I'll come to my project. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see it will be acting as a container, and all the related data will be wrapped inside one container. Next I'm having this one. Okay, pin I'm having. Let me just refresh this. Now below that I'm having pin. Now below this input field, first I'm just going to give here break and one more break. Below this I'm just going to create the same thing. I'll just copy this, and here I'm going to paste. Now instead of this street I'm just going to give here pin. I have just given here pin, and from here I'm just writing here small letters. Okay, if you give capital letters then also no issues, but we are just maintaining the whatever we have done till now. Okay, now here I'm having this enter your pin number. I'll refresh my project. Okay, now you can see here I'm having enter your pin number. Then below that we are having this languages, and we have to use check boxes now, because I can select multiple data here. You can see I can select multiple data, so I just have to use check boxes here. Now below this field set I'll be writing here BR, and 2 times I'm just going to write. Now below this first I'm just going to add here label. Inside this for I'm just going to write here language, and also here I'll be writing languages. Below this first let me just add one BR break tag. Now here I'm just going to write here input, and type is equal to checkbox. Okay, we are having this value inside HTML forms. Type is equal to checkbox. I'll save this. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'll be having one checkbox. So I'm just giving here type is equal to checkbox. Now for this inside name I'm just going to give here language 1. Okay, now whenever we are using checkbox, as we have seen in radio buttons, if we give separate values we can select all the data. Now in the same way we are going to give separate values for each and every checkbox. Now here I have just given language 1, and ID I'm just going to give here English. Now below this I'm just going to create label, and for I'm just going to give here English, and here I'll be writing English. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'm having English. Now in the same way I'll just copy this. I'll paste 2 times. Now I'm just going to change to Kannada. Let me just write here language 1. Okay, let it be here also language 1, and here I'm just going to change to Kannada, and here I'll be changing it to Hindi, and here also Kannada, and here I'm just changing it to Hindi. Now all will be same, and here let me just change the text to Hindi. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now whenever I click on this, you can see I can select multiple data, but the issue is I am having the same name here. We don't want this one. I'm just going to write here separate names, because whenever we are using check boxes we should give separate values for each and every name. I'll refresh this one. Now again I'll be having the same output. Okay, but you should always take care that for radio buttons we should be having same value for all the name attributes, but for check boxes we can have different values because we are selecting multiple data. Okay, we are done with the check boxes. Then below that we are having this time. Now here let me just come here. Below this I'll be adding one break, and below this I'm just going to write here label, and inside this label first let me just write here times. and here I'm just going to write time. Below this I'll be creating input field, and for this type I'm just going to give here date time local, which will be giving me the date as well as time. I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'm having, whenever I click on this, here I'm having this year, I'm having this months, I'm having this dates, and also here I'm having this time in PM and AM. Okay, this is how we are going to use this input type is equal to date time local. Now below that, let me just come here, below that I'm having here select your favorite color. Below this I'll be adding one break, I'll add 2 breaks. Then next I'm just going to write here label, and inside this I'll write here colors, and also here I'm just going to write here select your favorite color. Below this I'll be writing input field and type is equal to color. I'll save this, I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Okay, now you can see select your favorite color, and whenever I click on this I'll be getting this picker. I can select any color what I want. Then below that, let me just check here, below that I'm having this password and hobbies. Below this I'll just write here BR, and below this I'm just going to write label. Inside for I'm just going to write here password, and here also I'm just going to write here password. Below this I'm just going to create input field, type is equal to password, and here I'm just going to give here required field, required is equal to required. Then ID I'm just going to write here password. I'll save this, I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Okay, now you can see here I'm having, whenever I click on this, here I'm having this password. Okay, now if you just want, you can give the placeholder as well. Like let me just write here placeholder, enter your password. I'll save this, I'll refresh this one. Okay, now you can see here I'm having the placeholder as well. Now below that I'm having this hobbies field. We are just going to create this one. Okay, this is not select option. Now for select option, you can see the first data is selected, and whenever I click on this I'm having all these options. But this is like input field. Whenever I hover on that, only then I'm getting this icon, and when I click on that, all these options will be displayed. Okay, so for that we are just going to create data list now. Now below this I'll be writing BR. Now here I'm just going to write here label, and inside this first let me just write here hobby, and here inside this label I'll be writing here hobbies. Below this I'm just going to create one input list, and inside this input list I don't want any type. Let me just remove this one. Instead of this we have to use list attribute here. I'll be writing list attribute, and inside this I'm just going to give here hobby. Whatever value I have given for list attribute, whenever I write this data list, inside this I have to pass the same ID here. I'll copy this, and here I'm going to paste. If I pass same thing, only then it will be working, or else it will not work. Inside this I just have to pass the option, like how we passed inside select. Now here let me just write here cricket. Below that I'll be writing 3-4 values. Let me just remove this. Then here let me just write here badminton, cooking and reading. Copy, paste. I'll copy this cooking, and here I'm going to paste, copy, and here I'm going to paste, copy and paste. I'll save this, I'll come here, I'll refresh this one. Okay, now you can see whenever I hover on this I'm having this icon. When I click on this, all these options will be displayed. Now below this I'm having this text area. Now below this I just have to create the text area. Now here first let me just write here label, and inside this I'm just going to add here for. Inside for I'll be adding here feedback, as well as here I'm just going to write here feedback. Below this I'm just going to create the text field now. Below this I'll be writing here text area, and inside this name I can just write here feedback. I'll copy this, and here I'm going to paste, and columns, okay, based on your requirement you can give. As of now I'm just going to give here 10, and here I'll be giving here 5. And here I am having everything. I'll save this, I'll refresh my project. Now here I am having this text area field. Now below that we are having 2 buttons, submit button and reset button. Submit button is enabled, but the reset button is disabled. Now here I'll copy this to BR, and here I'm going to paste. Now below this I'm just going to create buttons. Input type is equal to button, and also I'm just going to write here input type is equal to button, and I'm just going to write here disabled. Okay, type I have to give here reset. Okay, only then it will be working, and instead of giving button we are having another type, that is nothing but submit. I'll save this, I'll refresh my project. You can see here button will be created. I have not passed any value inside this button, only I have given the type is equal to submit. Okay, and here I have given the type is equal to reset. It has created button for me and all the values are set. You can see inside this button I am having submit value, inside this button I am having reset value. Now when I click on this, you can see it will tell me please fill out this field. Now here let me just fill some data here. Now here I'll be writing at gmail.com. I'll select some data. Let me select Karnataka something. Okay, now you can see here it is giving me suggestions because I have not given autocomplete to be off here. Now here I am having this one. Now when I click on this, let me just select some date, then password, hobbies, feedback, submit. You can see it is sent to data.html and here I am having data sent. Now in the same way without filling, okay, now here I have not given any data here. Now when I click on submit, it will ask me to fill these fields. Okay, this is how we are going to work. Now suppose I have just given some random email, okay, without valid email. Now when I click on this, you can see it will tell please include at in the email address. Okay, this will be missing, so it is asking me to fill valid email address. Okay, this is how we are going to work with forms. We are having multiple values inside type attribute. Using that you can create any kind of form. Okay, this is all about form. We are done with this form. Now next we are going to revise entire thing whatever we have done, and also we will understand some of the features added in HTML5. Okay, that's all for today's tutorial. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.